Now, when I first got out of college, I made a lot of mistakes. And I'm going to show you how to not make those mistakes, how to reverse being broke when you first get out of college, what you're going to do, how you're going to save money, how you're going to make it out. Because no one taught me these things. No one taught me these things. I had to learn a lot of these things the hard way. And boy, did I learn it the hard way. But before we get into this, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Creating Elude Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. So if you've already, started in life, you have kids, you've grown, some of these tips may be common sense to you. But like I said, a lot of people was learning these things the hard way. So I want to go with the first one is you don't need to be dating after college if you're broke, unless you're both on the same financial breakthrough mindset. And I have just seven tips for you guys, okay? I know this one's like, huh, what does this have to do with finance? After college or even during college, dating is one of the biggest money wasters, especially for my men. When you're dating as a man, especially in this society, there's a lot of expectations on you. Like I have brothers, I have males around me, men around me that, I know what it is. Girls want this, they want that, what it is. So a lot of money is being spent on that. And even in terms of the woman, to stay cute, maintain, do all this stuff, there's just a lot of money that is wasted in dating. And when you're fresh out of college, typically, if you didn't find your husband already in college, that's when you're now open to finding your husband. Not only is it a money waster in that regards, but it's a time waster also. Because once you're dating, you need to carve out the time to go to lunch, go to dinner, whatever it is that you guys are doing or whatever activity, which takes time. And if you're actively dating or you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, right at those pivotal years when, okay, you got your degree now, please, please, please work on establishing what you got, focusing on the job market, wanting it harder, because the ones who do it right, there's a lot of hungry people. It's a competitive field out there. It's a competitive arena. And if you've ever been in corporate, and it's a very competitive arena. I was still in college in my first corporate job. My freshman year, my first ever corporate job was, it was crazy. But I was a freshman in college and trying to intern and be, seeing how the scopes go. I wasn't the only one with that state of mind. There was a lot of other people that planned to make it big in that company too. That was very competitive and hungry. And a lot of the girls that were about it, even girls that were about it, that knew what they wanted, how they wanted to climb, they were not interested in dating. They were not like, you're not going to interfere with what I have going on. That's the kind of competition it was, where I'd be in a library all day. Me and my sister, we'd be in a library. Like we'd go to school at like 8 a.m. and we wouldn't leave the school on days that we had classes until like 9 p.m. all day. After classes, my last class would be 3 p.m. I'd be in the library until 9 p.m. and then go home and still study and then go to work on the days that I was working. On my breaks at work, still be in these books or whatever. It's a very competitive market. And dating is wild depending on what type of career you want. A lot of people, like, depending on your major or what type of career you want, like if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be in the medical field and stuff like that, those are some very intense majors, right? Where I have a lot of aspiring doctors that they have to study just to, the exams they got to take just to get into med school and stuff. Like they don't have the time like that to even really focus on dating. And there's a lot of them that won't reply to you right away. They take it very serious, right? So I feel like after college, you have to have the same drive, the same type of hunger. The hunger does not stop once you have this degree, because there's a lot of people that are fresh out of college too, that are fighting to get the position that you may want. And I know we're supposed to have this abundance mindset, but things are limited. Positions in certain areas are limited. You know what I mean? You have to fight to get it, to get the top position as a doctor. Like, it's not going to go to everybody. Everyone wants to be the head nurse, but everyone can't make it. Everyone can't be that. And I do feel that it's a tough reality, but this video is not sugar cookie telling you, oh, no, yes, you can have it all, but there It's not always possible. That's just realistic. And I wish someone would have told me that. And I had to learn that the hard way. The distractions that come that makes you broke. It was making me broke because there was a time I could have focused. And it's just take that as a grain of salt for everybody. And a lot of people do find their spouse dating in college and after, and they end up happy, successful, and all of that. It's good. But it's a real rare case. It's a real rare case where I still wouldn't advise it. And I tell my younger people and, siblings, family and stuff, please focus. And I know I sound old like a grandma when I'm saying this, but I don't know if it's maybe it's corporate trauma in the positions I work. I saw how competitive it was and how people would sabotage people and do that. Is so competitive that you really can't afford to be like, you got to come at your A game in certain positions. You're going for interviews, like, especially what type of figures you want to make. You want to make 6 figures? People are going for those positions. If you just had a fight with your boyfriend last night and your mental is not right, and now you got to go for this interview or you got to do this presentation and stuff, but now you're stuck in an interview, you're checking your phone and stuff. Like, it's just not, if you catch my drift. Even for men, I don't know. Okay, but I don't want to stay on this one too long. Number 2 is rushing to leave your parents' house or not having a roommate. For instance, I always tell my younger ones, I love that in this generation, a lot of people are like, hey, I'm not in no rush to leave my parents' house. But in my era, it was the minute you turn 18, leave. Be out of there. And the minute I turned 18, I left. That was a mistake I did that I had to learn the hard way. Oh, it's not pretty. It's not pretty out there to try to prove that you're an adult, to try to prove that you got it. Now, if you're from a toxic environment, then I completely understand. But if you're not, your parents are generally good, because we can be very dramatic as teens. Like, the stuff that we think was so problematic and so unbearable, now as an adult, we're like, oh my goodness, I really could have dealt with my mom nagging just a little bit extra just so I could buy myself some time to save my money. Like, it wasn't that serious, right? But when we're young, some of us can be dramatic. Now, I do say there's extreme cases. That's not what I'm talking about. But y'all do know some of us could be dramatic, and we rush the process of adulthood and growing up. And the rude awakening is the first time I went to the grocery market on my own and did groceries. I cried. It was terrible. Like, the price of eggs, the price of milk. I didn't used to know. I didn't come from a wealthy, rich background or stuff. Like, we came from the hood, but I still wasn't doing groceries in the hood, like my own groceries. The first light bill I had, because, of course, my peoples did better the longer they stayed in America, so they didn't move up a little bit. But I never knew what it was like to pay a light bill and stuff. And you want to trying to prove so much that you're an adult, especially after college. Like, oh, I got my degree now. There's no way I'm going back home. I'm an adult. I'm not going back home. It's not really a smart move. It's just not a smart move. If you can afford to go back home and not prove that you're an adult, then do it. If not, get a roommate. Get a roommate that you can trust, whatever. Split those bills in half. It's going to help a lot. If you can go back home, do it. Until you marry. Do it. Ain't nothing out here but Lent, okay? And if you can get a roommate, do it. I had a roommate after me and my best friend. We're still friends today. Great, until she got married. Then I was on my feet and was able to do things. But I definitely am grateful, because where I would slack, she would pick up. Where she would slack, I would pick up. We had each other, and it wasn't like trying to do everything on your own. After college, it can really drain you and shock you how much you're spending. So if you can have a sense of community and people that can help you, do not be ashamed, especially in this economy, to do that until you figure it out. Number 3 is student loans is one of the biggest reasons why you're broke. And I understand that. If you're not yet in college, I would say be careful with student loans. Try to get grants. There's websites with grants that you can get in America. I'm not sure for overseas, but there's a lot of grants that you can get. If you can get a job too. One thing that I wish I did was jobs that I was making while I was in college. I wish I would have started paying off a lot of my debt early on and not letting them accumulate and wait, because a lot of doctors are making bread, but they're broke because of student loans, right? And it messes up your credit when you try to get a house, you go into deferment. And now I used to work in a financial office and 3 Financial. And when I worked there, a lot of our clients would get their money, like refunds, seized from student loans or debt added. Like, you clear their debt. They don't have debt. They paid everything they owed to the government, this and that. And then somehow their student loans became an issue. And so they were not getting away with it, just like with child support and stuff. And seeing that was like, wow, you really can't just go your whole life and not pay it. And I was doing credit repair for people also, and credit building and helping people purchase homes and cars. And one of the main things that was in everyone's credit, including mine, was student loans. Medical bills, of course, but student loans. And if you go into deferment where you're not making payments, because they give you a time where you don't have to pay it once you graduated, but that time cuts off, you have to pay it. Because once you're not paying it, now you go into deferment, your credit is low, they see that, you just neglecting. Like, if you want to be anything in life in America, I know outside of America, there's not like the credit system, but you need credit to buy a house, to buy a car, businesses, you need credit. And student loans is one of those things. And I say just be wise. Don't go into deferment. Make sure you pay those ahead of time. Don't wait last minute, because that will make you go broke as interests keep increasing. Don't let those interests increase. And also call up your lender, call up that company, see who you borrowed money from. Because for me, I didn't even know who I was borrowing money from when I just would do financial aid. And this is who's paying my student loans that I'm going to have to pay back. I wouldn't even know the name of the people, like, until I'm looking at my credit, like I'm trying to get my first place or this or whatever. And I'm like, what? And then I have to make sure you call to be like, hey, can we come to a settlement? Or what options do you guys have for a struggling student and my income is not up to par? What can we do? Don't be ashamed to ask for that. Do not be embarrassed, because there's resources out there. They will help you. Number 4 is credit cards. Was something that I didn't understand the full concept of. But once, of course, I started doing credit repair for people, I really understood credit cards and how to utilize it. But in the beginning of my journey, I was getting credit cards to pay, like, for trips, to pay for food, partying, all of that stuff. Anything, I was just swipe, swipe, swipe. I didn't understand interest rates. And it took me probably to pay a small it's not small. It was huge. But in the grand scheme of things, compared to like what some of my clients was owing on their credit cards, $5,000 that I owed on a credit card in 1 year, I accrued a debt of $5,000. And I think my interest rate was like 29.8% or something like that. And it took me probably 4 to 5 years to pay that off just because of interest rates. I paid that $5,000 a long time ago, but I had to pay double what I used just in interest rates. I have other videos, especially the credit one, on my financial playlist where we talk about that a little bit more. But that was a big lesson for me, where I'm like, I can't believe it. And I always thought, oh, I'll swipe, I'll pay. But no, that is why a lot of people are broke. Do not get credit cards once you're fresh out of college. Go learn to be financially literate. Let me not say do not have credit cards. Have the credit cards. Use them responsibly. Pay them. Do not max it out. Always make sure you have a zero balance at the end of the month. Don't spend what you don't have. Don't use them for trips. You're going to regret it. Trust me. The cards that I regretted the most was the ones that I maxed out for trips or for parties and stuff like that. It's like, why did I do that? It takes a while to pay back because of interest rates, and they do not care. It will not go away. It will not go away. Okay? Number 5 is partying too much, vacations, etc., flexing. And one thing I learned is that older people, I never understood why they didn't flex as much. They weren't wearing flashy things. They weren't braggadocious. They were driving simple cars. There's a study Forbes did where Forbes was showing the cars that the wealthiest people drive, like wealthy people that's making above like 100 million. And I was surprised to see Toyota. I was like, what? I thought it would be Rolls Royce, Bentley, Maserati, Aston Martin, like the cars that, would be attached to wealth. I did a video for Howard Hughes on my documentary channel, which was the wealthiest man of his generation. He was buying every Vegas strip. This man was the wealthiest man of his time. And he was driving a regular beat up pickup truck because he was like, I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. I know I got it. What do I have to prove to people? I wish I understood that out of college, because especially if you're a first generation graduate, you want to show that again, the flex, I got it, this and that and that. So any little money that you don't have, you out here spending to show that you have, right? And to see that the richest people in the world were driving regular cars, like when I say regular cars, that's not like 100 figures. They weren't driving G-Wagons. They were driving like a Volkswagen Rubicon instead of a G-Wagon, a Jeep, and stuff like that. I'm like, this is insanity. This is insanity. And how they were dressing, even though it would be not flashy, even though, like, I noticed this, true wealthy people. There are some people that make money, that are millionaires, that they'll buy like a simple shirt like this, and it'll be like $1,000 for the shirt, but it has no logo, nothing. But they just like the quality, the fabric, it lasts longer, this, that, and the third, whatever. There are people that do spend like that, but I'm talking about the higher you go up sometimes, like people have this expectation that, I notice the higher you go up, what these people flex on and splurge on is their house, their properties, their real estate. That's what they really flex on. Collectibles. If they do have cars, they do have nice cars, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about their everyday car, what they drive would be like a Toyota. They're not putting miles on a Rolls Royce. They're not going to pull up to a McDonald's in a Aston Martin. They're just not going to do it with a Bentley. They're not going to go to Walmart in their Bentleys. You know what I mean? They have a regular car, or even they have a Mercedes, it'll be a C-Class regular car. And they'll have collectible cars in their garage. They'll have art. They collect art. I did videos on this also in my financial playlist. What do the rich collect? And what do they spend money on? They also flex with experiences, going on holiday, going on vacations, buying vacation homes and stuff. This is where you'll find that they flex their money. It's not that they don't spend and they're so cheap, but they spend on stuff that, hey, if I were to lose everything, I can sell this and make a fortune still and be able to survive. I can sell the house. I can sell this. If they do buy the luxury purses, the women that are a little bit more seasoned, I'm not talking about the younger ones that are fresh into it. The older they get, the more they know, if I'm going to buy this purse, can it be a collectible like a Chanel 30s that no one has, that's going to be worth triple what it's worth now in the future? I'll maybe wear it once or twice to a special event, but it's sitting there waiting for a difficult time, or to resell it, to take the money and then buy something even bigger and repeat, rinse, cycle, repeat. Social media, period, make you believe something else. And I wish I didn't fall for none of these things. Like I don't care to be that super flashy. There are things like, if you're into fashion, there are some staples you just want to have. You're young, you're into fashion or whatever. Like I'll get them, but it makes you go broke. And even vacations, I'm a believer in experiences and stuff like that. But it's like, there was a time I was doing it when I didn't have it. I was using credit cards all the time. Now, when I go on my vacations, like, listen, it's planned for. It's allocated for. There's funds for it. I'm using points. I'm not using, my earnings and stuff. I have points that have accumulated. Rich people don't care perks. Okay, one thing I'll tell you guys, with like the American Express card, like the platinum card or something, or even the black card, gold card, a lot of these wealthy people you'll see on first class or whatever, a lot of wealthy people don't even be having private jets like that. It's all a flex thing that people who think that's how they're supposed to be do it. But a lot of those people you'll sit next to, I don't know if I said this story on this channel, I was sitting next to someone that I didn't want to out them, but they own their family. They came from a family that owns like a cereal brand that we use all the, like, people eat all the time, and super wealthy right there with us for regular folks. And I said regular folks because people make it seem like for you to be super wealthy, you got to be on a private jet. You can't fly first class or something like that to just get where you're going and then come back. And guess what? They used to fly like that. Their points on their cards. And how do they get those points? They make their everyday purchases and pay it off. Because with like American Express, for instance, you pay it off every month. Yeah, you might not have a limit, but if I spent $13,000 this month, I have to pay $13,000 at the end of the month in my credit card. It's not a pay over time. They do have pay over time, but once you tap into that pay over time, or you show them that you cannot make it pay, that's it for your account and business with them. You're never gonna be eligible essentially for like a black card or something. Like, I don't know if they changed their rules as of recent, but that's just the reality of it. And I realized that the rich knows a lot of loopholes, a lot of perks. There's books I have here for book club that I have for you guys. I'll put some on the screen so you guys can know what books to purchase for future book clubs. Is Loopholes of the Rich, with taxes, with vacations, with credit cards, how they spend money. They're not really spending like you think. We're the dumb ones in the middle class that's thinking that they're doing that, and then we're wasting our money. And fresh off of college, we want to show that we got it, and we're doing that when they're not doing this. Partying too much also, like the party lifestyle, is a draining thing. And you feel like, you're officially free. You don't got to wake up to go to classes. You're partying and you're not prioritizing. You're not competitive. You're not on your stuff anymore. That same drive you might have had in your youth, that first couple years, you feel free. You're taking time, Mom, I'm going to explore the world. And yes, you're young. Go ahead and do it. But by the time you're done exploring, you come back miserable because you're broke. I had a lot of friends in college that went to, they took a year off after just to explore and came back miserable. I'm a believer in establish yourself first and, work hard now and play harder later. Establish yourself first and then play after. The time when you do go on a vacation, you're not on a vacation like dreading, oh my goodness, I have to make this money up. I just spent this much money. No, you're established to where I'm good. This was allocated for. I don't feel guilty. I can splurge. I'm good. You get what I'm saying? Number 6 is not being resourceful is one of the biggest reasons a lot of us struggled after college. Like I said, the rich have loopholes. They get grants too. They get assistance. Even Trump, if you saw his documentary on Netflix, they talk about, but as far as his father and him, there's so many loopholes that they use. Like, I was just studying like how they got grants to even build their hotels and stuff. They're not coming out of pocket to build these hotels. They're not coming out of pocket to build these hospitals and businesses. Even Robert Kiyosaki, I have a lot, well, I can't see from the distance. I have a lot of Robert Kiyosaki books out in my library inside also. And he's always telling you, use credit to make money, right? Don't come out of pocket. A lot of the rich are not coming out of pocket. We're believing that they're coming out of pocket. They're using their resources. They know what's available to them. No one takes advantage of the government and the system more than the rich. They don't pay taxes. Like, it's the middle class that keeps everything afloat here. They don't pay taxes like us. They're not starting up their business like us. A lot of them had either rich parents that gave them money to, like Trump, I believe, his father, I forgot, gave him like $1 million or something like that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, to start his business. A lot of them are trust fund babies, etc. And we're believing that these people, started from the mud. They're investing their hard-earned this and that. They got grants from the bank. They lie about their assets. They're not even worth what they say they're worth for real. They lie about their assets so that they can get more grants, more money, more loans from the bank. They use loans to go fund new business ventures to get them where they're going to be. That's why you had people, even like the Kylie Jenner, other wealthy people that would lie to Forbes. It's like a competition to show how much you worth. The more Amazon is worth, the more Elon Musk is worth, like Tesla, etc., the more banks are going to trust to give major loans to these people because you've proven that you have so much assets and success and stuff. And sometimes it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all lies. They don't have it for real. And they have a lot of loopholes. And we're not taking advantage of the system like we should. And people be ashamed that, hey, if you can't get assistance when you're fresh out of college, there's places you can get free food. There's sites for your community. If you just do a quick Google search, you can find those resources. Even like I said with the student loans, to call them and say, hey, what's out there? What can I do? I stay in this state. How can I fix this? Blah, 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 blah. They will be very helpful. Like the student loans people they were helpful with me. They were helpful with me. That's all I'm going to say. And if you ask, you will receive. Closed mouths do not get fed. There is government assistance for a lot of stuff. And I know it gives a bad name to say the rich make you believe that being on government assistance is such a negative thing when they use it the most. By government assistance, I'm not necessarily talking about welfare, but if you need it, you really need it, don't let no one shame you into not getting it. Or food stamps. If you qualify for food stamps, get it. If you need WIC, get it. But a lot of them will make you feel guilty. They don't want you to use the system's resources and stuff that you qualify for and loans and financial aids, because guess what? It takes away from the government's money that the government is going to give them for their businesses. The more of you guys are put on game to use it, let's put shame into it. You're paying your taxes. You're not living here free. No matter where you're from, you're paying some form of taxes. And there's help out there. Don't let anybody guilt you, especially out of college. Like, tell people the truth. Also, people don't got to be in your business. Oh, I'm broke, I'm down and out. But like, bruh, do you know where I can get, like me and my roommate, we did not care. We would find food. We would be dead broke. We would find food because there's resources. And they helped us a lot until we got into our feet. That's just how it is. We would find food. We were not closed mouths. We would be in these streets, driving to certain locations where, hey, the government has this going on here, blah, 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 blah. And then it helps you. And on a grander scale, the rich would take advantage of the system in a grander scale, with loans and grants and stuff like that, or make connections with the, city's mayor and people that are in charge and stuff. They have their own way of manipulating the system. And the minute you understand that and the loopholes that they have, you will start to attach less shame to yourself for doing the same thing, especially fresh out of college. Number 7 is not having a savings. Please. It's easier said than done. But if there's one thing, if I knew the economy was going to be like this, I would have started saving since elementary. All my little quarters, nickels, and dimes would have been in jars. And we used to have something, I don't know if it's called Coinstar, if they still have that, because now everybody is cards. People don't even carry cash like that anymore. Cash is not a thing people carry. But back when I was in elementary or middle school, they used to have Coinstar. So me and my sister used to save pennies, nickels, dimes, and stuff, and we'd go to Coinstar. You put all the coins in there, and it gives you dollars out back or whatever. And they take like a tiny percentage, but it gives you back. One thing I say is, dang, if I knew the economy would be this bad, I would have started saving since elementary. But a lot of you guys know how bad it is. Y'all see the memes, the jokes, the TikToks, how bad it is. And you're in high school now, or you're still in college, or you're just out of college. Start saving for your house the minute you can. Like, I wish all throughout college I was saving. Even when I got out of college, I wish I was saving. I wasn't saving. Yes, I was using resources and stuff, but I was not saving. And I'm thinking back, there was time in my second corporate job, my first corporate job, second corporate job, where I was walking out weekly with like $3,000-$4,000 weekly in that job. It was crazy. It was unbelievable. It was like me and my best friend at the time, my childhood friend, got that job together, and we used to just be crazy, like how, because it was a kind of job where you could make your own money. Like, you worked for yourself. I was doing sales calls and stuff like that. Now I'm looking back, where did all that money go? I had no real bills. Guys. And I was in college. By the time that job was done for, I was broke. And I was like, where did the money go? It's a shame. And a lot of you guys might be making something, a little something right now, even if it's $5. Have a rainy day account. Like, have something saved. I am ashamed in my earlier years just how irresponsible I was. That was crazy. And when I was working at that job, my first year of college, because I graduated at 17. So I turned 18 my freshman year. So, but that first couple months, my sister went off to college. Like, we started off in the same college, and then she moved and went to another college. And I was still living at home. I didn't leave home yet. So all that money I was making, and it's not like I was asked to pay any bills or anything like that. And where's that money? Gone. Irresponsible. So if I had had a savings, a lot of the struggle that I went through later, I wouldn't have went through it. Period. A lot of the struggle for food, paying my phone bill, etc. I just wouldn't have went through it. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets. One of my biggest regrets is, and I don't regret much, it's just all the money that I didn't save. Like, you've ever went to a buffet and then you got back home, oh man, I should have ate more of this. Oh man, I shouldn't. I used to be like that. That's kind of how I feel with money wasted. And I hate wasting money. And I hate, like, if you get a large sum at one time, put it away. It's not a scarcity mindset. It's reality. Like, a lot of these terms are keeping people in a chokehold to destruction that, oh, I have an abundance mindset, so I don't need to save because money will just keep coming to me. All right, sis. All right. These are the people a couple years down the line you're going to see struggling really bad. It does not work that way. Yes, there's an abundance, but there's also a responsibility that the Lord wants us to have with finance. And I am working on a Bible and economics video. It's going to be pretty detailed and lengthy and stuff to better do that. That's going to come up sometime in May. God willing. I'll be working on that for you guys to see that. But there's just a certain level of responsibility we're supposed to have too. But this is all I have for this video, okay? And of course, there's more tips, but this video is already too long. I'll be working on more. Check out my financial playlist, but I definitely got you guys on more financial videos, especially my college people. They'll be coming up, so subscribe so you don't miss out on that. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you watched this far, I don't know, what color heart should I say you guys leave? Leave a pink heart in the comments for me so I know you watch until the end and you're a real one. Comment below what other topics you guys would like. I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.